Don't blink, it's your boy Ink. Welcome to another video. Welcome to that show. I'm doing well because you're having a fantastic day. You're gonna see me sweating a lot today. It's 33 degrees, but I still want to make this video because this video to me is important to make, and it's about the day that changed my life. Right? There's a well, before that, why are we? Okay, I'm so sorry. I got mosquito bites, and it's fucking painful. Not painful, but annoying. What is? See, it's warm. It's warm as fuck outside. I cannot think straight. But what I do know is the sun is going down and there's a moon. So this is beautiful. 3 days, and we got the moon. And it's such a moon. The strawberry moon. So I have to charge my state. I have to remember to do that. So basically, we're going back. Why am I making this video? First of all, I'm making this video because I did do a nitro this morning where I was talking about the outside pressure and the feeling of wanting to make videos but needing a job. I don't need a job right now, but I'll need a job eventually for sure. And there's this constant battle of my emotion versus wanting to reassure the people that are close to me is my constant, like I said in the nutshell this morning. You got my father, my mom, they're pushing me to have a job or to go to school. And it's normal, they're worried about me. But see, I want to do like a content creation as a job, as a dream, and I believe that doing that. See, we're gonna take this just to scratch the leg of this. I've always been a little sensitive to mosquito bites, and that's pretty much it. Honestly, it's all the question of shit. There's an ad. Whew, we're back. Sorry. You do put some ad that's 40 minutes, so I have to take him out. We also took the GoPro to film the sun. Well, not the sun, but the moon that is up so early, so fucking early, and so beautiful, right? Always been drawn to the moon. But that's not the subject of today. Like I said, I want to do content creation. It takes so much time, right? And it's so much effort, and there's no guarantee, which is half of the fun of doing that. I feel like, again, if it was guaranteed, it wouldn't be as fun. If it was guaranteed, I would know that making the effort is worth it. But now I don't know that making the effort is worth it, and that's half the fun. To me, this is very positive. Very, very positive. Again, sorry, I'm scratching the mosquito bites. And that's pretty much it. So, again, there's this unbalance of what I want versus what people think that I need. And, again, I do need that job. But I don't need that job today. I need that job in 4 to 5 months, right? But they're pushing me. So that's why I felt not necessarily overwhelmed, but it didn't feel like I was. Oh my god! I'm gonna have to retell the story today. So it's more so the fact that by pushing me, like I'm blood in and blood out, and I feel like to succeed in making content, I had to be blood in and blood out, blood, sweat, and tears. I'm not being blood, sweat, and tears because, again, the part of my brain that's keeping in mind that, oh, you got this advice today. People are pushing you to get work, right? But that's not today's video. Today's video is a moment in my life that is actually very, very not necessarily concise, but it's very important, or very leading at least, to what I'm doing right now, right? So, and again, it's crazy because the most influential moment of your life are gonna seem like the most meaningless. When I'm gonna tell you the story, it's absolutely fucking meaningless. It's crazy how little it means, but it still made something. It still made me understand or think about something. So, long story short, I'm gonna tell you the story, the event, but I have to tell you like a bit of a background story. Even as a kid, right? Even as a kid, and I'm not today. I'm gonna sound like a victim, but it's not. It's the opposite. It's supposed to be motivational, or at least like ish, right? So basically, even as a kid, right? People are telling, hey, you're funny, you're telling a good story, hey, you're entertaining, you should go to TV. But those same kids would tell me, you're too ugly for TV. And then I was told that radio could be an option, but as a kid, I only known how to speak French, and I had diction problem. I don't know how you say it in English, pronunciation problem, because again, ADHD, whereas I'm thinking faster than I can speak, and everything needs to come out. So I'm raising the speed of the vocal. I'm raising the speed of the speech, and because I'm raising the speed of the speech, it makes it less concise, less understandable. So basically, what happened was I was like, okay, well, fuck it, and then it's insane. I was working in IGA, and it was beginning of the apartments. I was 21. We're fast forwarding like fucking 15 years. And I was in love with this girl. I was really in love with this girl. Well, and it sucks because shit. That girl, was I truly in love with her, or was I? Because apart from that job at IGA, I would constantly play games. So she was one of the only girl like kind of saw on a daily basis. So of course I'm gonna be like, holy shit, she's beautiful. So, you know, and it's gonna feel like love, even though it's only love because she's the only girl that I'm seeing, and that's why she's busy. So when you're in love, right, you keep thinking about that person, boy, girl, doesn't matter. And you're like, okay, I'm thinking about this person, I'm thinking about this person, I'm thinking about this person, so I must be in love. But are you really in love, or is the only person that you're currently seeing? So I'm talking with this girl, and she's kind of she's really cool actually. She's really cool. She's cute. I mean, she was a good girl and everything. But she had a crush on another guy, and I was always the kind of, and it's not my first time. Even as a kid, I had such a low self-esteem that I would always chill with a girl, like become her friend, in case there was a breakup or she was single and I could make a move, which never happens because I was too much of a pussy to do a move, right? And that's my life, right? That's my life. That's the eternal self-hope. This the eternal, like, that's why I relate so much with songs like Hope's Up from Nothing Nowhere, like Surrender from Billy Talent. She reads a book from across the street. So I was always this friend with a girl, and with this girl I was her friend, right? And she was talking about fucking other dude, and I was like, this fucking sucks, but what else can I do? What else can I, you know? She's not my girlfriend. And long story short, right? Back in the IGA, I had a lovely time. It was a really good job. It was possibly one of my funnest, not the most important job, but the funnest job, because again, there was a lot of social life for a guy that wasn't really social. So me and the so me and the manager, right? The manager was kind of okay. So the girl I was in love with, she was the asset manager. The guy who was in charge was a manager, and this guy didn't really give a shit. He didn't really care about the job. He was like, okay, well, this is my department. As long as things are going well, I don't care, right? I only need the thing for going well. And I fucking love Guillaume. His name was Guillaume. Fucking love Guillaume. Guillaume was a good dude. Guillaume was chill as fuck. Guillaume, I would come and talk to him. And even though we didn't talk because I wasn't working a lot there, I was working like possibly 3 days a week, but I was working 8 hours a day. And believe me not, I wasn't the one in the department to have the least hour. Right? So even though I would see him like once a month, every time I saw him, we were joking. He was a gamer, I was a gamer. We were talking. We both fall in love with Kingdom Hearts. I had this tattoo of Kingdom Hearts, and it was like, okay, that's kind of cool. And that's how we that's it's weird because that's kind of how we became friends, because we were friends. And Guillaume, it's for, I'm gonna talk about dudes because I'm a dude. For men, it's really easy to become friends. It's really easy to find a connection with a person. It takes one thing and we can talk about it. And even though we understand that it's not going to be a friendship that's going to last forever, even superficial friendship are kind of cool. So we're talking with Guillaume, and Guillaume kind of likes me, and I kind of like Guillaume. But Guillaume was sadly a bit of a old school guy, which was weird because he was 28. I was 20. He was 28, but he talked really old school. He was like, oh, fuck. I feel like I'm talking shit, but I fucking love Guillaume. Again, it was a really good boss. He was a good boss that was kind of strict, but not too strict. And that's fucking tough because he had this mentality that was kind of like a good mentality, but it was extremely sexist, where he was like, well, I'm not gonna have a girl clothes because there's a lot of fucking creep that comes at night, so I'm gonna have you clothes. But the problem with Guillaume is I actually like the guy and I wanted to make him happy. So he would give me a list to follow of like, okay, well, you have all of this to do, and he would tell me like, if you don't finish, it's okay. But I wanted to finish because, okay, again, it was doable. It was very doable. But for example, if you were working 8 hours, I had like 6 hours of work, and I wasn't the kind of guy to do the job. I was kind of guy to always run and not run last minute. I'm still the kind of guy. So I would make mistakes, right? Because again, you're trying to go too fast, so you're making mistakes. It was a small mistake, but it was still a mistake. And then the next day, I would get in trouble. And there was this girl that we used to work with, but she was old school, and she really cared. And the general employee consensus, if you will, was that Guillaume didn't care enough to be taken seriously. He wasn't consistent good boss, right? So people were like, dude, and they were mad at me because I'm like, yo, you're making mistakes, right? And you're lucky because Guillaume doesn't give a shit and Guillaume likes you, so you get defended. But I'm in my mind, and I'm still to this day, I'm like, dude, I have 20 plus items to do in 8 hours. Now, it's not a lot, it's 3 items per hour, but when you're waiting last second, that's my fault. That's my fault. I used to wait last second. But still, I have a lot of jobs, right? So it's normal. Like, you're pointing out the couple of mistakes I did, but you're not pointing out the 20 other items that I did correctly. And that girl, she was like, oh, well, it should be... That girl believed she should have been manager because she was there for a while. She was at IGA for a while because the place I was working in was IGA, and I've been there. She was there for a while. She has been there for like 15 years, and Guillaume has only been there for 6 years. But the problem with this girl, she was 62, and if she was retired at 65, you don't make a manager for 3 years. You're trying to make a manager for long term, right? So Guillaume was possibly the better choice in this regard. I think Guillaume was a good boss. I don't think she would have been a good boss because she was extremely partial. She was extremely like, and she would insult me. She would insult me because you're making so many mistakes. You don't give a fuck, you punk. And in my mind, since she was like that, I was like in and out because in my head I'm like, well, if there was a problem, Guillaume would talk to me. Besides, I'm doing a lot of work, right? And we were 6 in the department, and the only one that complained was her. Now, the girl that I loved was assistant manager, as I said, but they had a good relationship with the old one. And the assistant manager was always going to come to me, ask me to say, hey, don't listen to her. You're good. You're okay. You're doing good. You're doing a good job. Don't worry about it. And we were joking, right? We were joking. And with her, she was my age. So we were really playful. Like, she would see me on the phone, and there's always this, one of my best memories with her. And again, I wish her all the best. It didn't work out, but it's okay. That's life. One of my best memories with her is I have one of my friends that calls me, and we have this. For example, right? This is the oh shit. This is the customer. This is the counter. I would put my phone here so I could talk. I was talking to the phone, and I was looking at the customer, which made them think that I was talking to them. Right? And then if they asked me, hey, did you talk to me? I said, no, I was talking to her, which was my coworker, and she was laughing. It was really cool, and we would eat together. It was really, really nice. So she kind of gave me like a soft push saying, hey, you're making a lot of mistakes, because again, I was 8 months, and I wasn't necessarily improving, which is true. I wasn't improving. It's true. I'll admit. And I could give you the excuses that I was working now 8 hours a week. I was dropping schedule because the old lady that didn't like me kept pushing on the SM manager to make me have less hours. It was crazy. It was nuts. It was nuts. So I was working 8 hours, and back then it wasn't enough to survive. But I was like, okay, well, I have a job, right? If I keep on doing my job, maybe I'll get more hours. I'll get seniority. And that's a shitty story. That's a very shitty story. Like I got fired from that job for eating on the place, but my excuses was, well, since I'm working only 1 day a week, like I'm gonna eat as much as possible. That way we're saving money on the food. But I was eating some raw cookie dough. I was eating some overcooked bread, but that wasn't burnt. Right, so I was in the limit of, okay, well, we have to waste it, but I wasn't in the time of where it's truly a problem. There's smoke in the oven because it's burnt. So long story short, she tells me, "You're making a lot of mistakes. What are you gonna do in life?" And you guys know me, I'm sensitive. So I'm like, dude, we're on one side you're telling me, hey, don't worry about her, you're doing good, and now you're saying you're making so many mistakes. And I'm like, okay, well, since when do you feel that way? Because since day one you told me I'm good. Have you been lying the whole way? So I kind of was hurt. And my first thought, and when I speak, I don't necessarily filter myself. I don't really think. And as a joke, I said I'll be famous, because the reality of it, right, was she was telling me I'm down here, and to me the best thing I could do, the most upward thing I could do, was being famous. She's like, famous from what? And she actually said, you don't know how to do anything. So that was really hurtful, and I was like, but I was like, okay, well, you're not gonna break me, right? I always had this mentality of, you're not gonna break me. You're never. The only person that broke me was my fucking coworker and PCT, but he bullied me for 5+ years before he started breaking me, right? And I worked at IGA for a year, and she was not bullying me every day. I was working 1 day a week. What did I give a shit for? And I'm like, in my head, I'm like, I'll be famous for not knowing how to do anything. And again, I want to pinpoint again, because it seemed like I don't give a shit about that job, which is not true. I did give a shit, but when you're making me work 1 day out of per week, I cannot be consistent. If you want me to be consistent, make me come every day. That way I'll be consistent. But you're not making me come every day, so I'm not consistent. And it actually sucks, because at the end of the day, she's like, I'll be famous for not doing anything. And there's a part of me that remember this day very, very, very fondly, because it came out so quick and without so much filter. It was the first thing I thought. So there's a chance that I was being I was not being fightful with her, but I was saying, fuck you, I'm gonna tell you what to do. Fuck you, I'm gonna do me, right? And there's other part that's like, okay, well, I don't really hate her. I don't hate her at all. So it wasn't coming out of the place of anger or hurt, which means it was coming from a place of honesty. And again, when I started this video, I said, oh, people were telling me, oh, you're gonna be famous for not knowing how to do anything. And then I started looking at TV, because again, this stayed in my subconscious, this stayed in my mind for a while, becoming famous for no reason. And the reality is, when I was growing up, I never really had a it sucks to say, it's actually a bad thing to say, and please don't do that. Don't follow my example, please. I never had, like, for example, my mom, she's a secretary, which is great, but with ADHD, I wasn't picturing myself answer the phone for the whole day. There's nothing wrong with that, but you have to picture yourself doing the job for a while, right? And my father was a welder, which is a very noble job, but my father would come home, talk about his job. He was, and that's a true story. My father would work for 8 hours a day. He would come home, talk to me and mom for like 2 hours. But the 2 hours, he was talking about what? He was talking about job. And there's at the time he was in his garden. So I'm like, dude, this guy and my father is living to work and not working for living. So I'm like, I don't want to be involved that much. I want to have a life, for example. And of course, it's the mentality of a kid, but it's still to this day, I respect that. And it's crazy, because my father was a dude that used to work, like, again, 8 hours, would talk. Every single time that he had conversation, it was about work. And now when I'm doing content, I'm doing videos, I'm working 10, 11 hours a day, and I'm doing the same thing my father did. And I don't see it as something bad, but I understand that when I do talk to people that are not content creating, it's hard to understand, right? I understand that. Long story short, I didn't see myself do that. And as a kid, I was fucking 7, 8 years old, and people were telling me, hey, you're really funny, you should do radio, you should do TV. So I'm like, okay, well, I never had a lot of kids are gonna be wanting to be like firefighter or police officer, and in my head I didn't know what to do, but subconsciously speaking, I was like, I'm being told I could be good at that. That could be a possibility. I'm the kind of guy, okay, I'll work as hard as possible. I'll work hard. But when it comes to planning, when it comes to time management, I'm horrible. I'm horrible when it comes to that. So I'm like, okay, I don't mind working. So I'm always kind of choosing the easy way, and the easy way, even, and it's funny because you're saying the easy way, but is that a question of subjection? That's subjective. That's a question of perception. Easy way for you could be the hard way for somebody else. Again, long story short, I started watching people on TV and saying, hey, they're not that talented. I could do that. I could do that. I could do that. I could do that. And then I started watching YouTube, and I started watching people that created content. And my first kind of like YouTuber that I follow was, again, and I said so in multiple videos. I said so in multiple over a bunch of time. One of the first content I really looked at was AGP, and AGP was an amazing channel, but it wasn't really relatable. If you didn't have a dysfunctional family, it didn't make a lot of sense. So I'm like, okay, well, that's not it. But then I start watching, and again, you're gonna hate me for this. You're gonna hate me for this. I've been watching AGP for a while. Then it came the golden age of vlogger, which was the year 2016, right? And it was funny because those vloggers were Logan Paul, Jake Paul, Rice Gum. It was FaZe Banks. It was a lot of those guys, and most of them ended up being fucking assholes. My apology, but still. But you saw them, and they were normal dudes just vlogging, and I was like, okay, well, that's cool. So I created my first channel. It didn't work. Then a year after, I said, oh, you know what? You didn't give this enough effort, and you're like, okay, didn't work harder, so you stopped. And then you're in a place where you're getting bullied every day. You don't like life, so you start creating content as kind of like a hobby, and all of those memories of wanting to create content, all those memories of those kids telling you should do that, comes back to you. See, I don't know if it's destiny. I don't know if it's, but it's kind of crazy that all your life has been pointing to this. And why am I telling you this whole story? Is I look for balance. I feel more torn to finding a job. I feel more torn to pleasing my parents than I feel to myself. But this is, again, a quest of balance that said, hey, you've been wanting that for a while, dude. You just haven't put in the effort. I've been wanting to create content for a while, right? I haven't put in the effort into, well, before those 2 years, I would put in the effort. But again, there's always this part of me that says you could have put more. When I stop the video here, it's really warm. It is really fucking warm outside. So, love you guys. Take it easy.